Chris, first let's talk about where we are today. 4-3, 3-1 in the league. You suffered your first league loss last week to a good Wyoming team. But boy, when you look at your schedule from Batavia to CHCA to Wyoming, your three losses are certainly nothing but impressive teams.
Absolutely. You look at CHCA and Wyoming, two of the top teams in Division 4, Region 16. I mean, between them, Indian Hill, who we're playing this week, that's three of the top teams in the region. Could be a regional final game right there. And Batavia, Division 3 football team, just a tough, very big school, competitive. We got them last year, but they paid us back this year in a tough game.
Now there are injuries, and then there are injuries. Now let me go through the first part. You're on quarterback number 5.
That is correct. Week 1, we lost Braden Wallace, so broke a collarbone. Hopefully, with the next week or two, we can get him back. Not this week. Then quarterback number 2, Cooper Blackburn, which in small school football, you go both ways. So when you lose a quarterback, you lose a middle linebacker. Broke his foot, a couple metatarsals in his foot, and he's out for the year. We had a freshman, Jamison Fenley, step in. First play of the game, second play of the game against Reading. Sprained AC joint. And then Dom Schuler, unfortunately, in the Wyoming game, also sprained his AC joint when he's going to tackle. And that's the hard part. When you start to play young kids against grown men, 17, 18-year-old kids, that's the price you pay sometimes in those games. But a testament to our team that sitting at 4-3 and winning 3 games before the Wyoming game in a row is a testament to our coaches and also our players who have done a tremendous job of filling those gaps in.
Now, let's talk QB5 now.
Yeah.
Is he
Senior Andrew Roy.
Okay.
He's the jack of all trades. He's played running back. He's played a little wing, tight end. He plays middle linebacker for us as well, too. He's on every special teams. He doesn't come off the field. Really good, a smart kid, senior. I'm looking forward to him getting the opportunity to play a little bit this year.
Now, you always want to be on your 5th-string quarterback, in essence, when you're playing Indian Hill, right? I mean, undefeated. And the disparity when you look at this team, we'll talk about yours, but they've scored 282. They've given up a whopping 35. I mean, so Indian Hill has really been, to this point, the cream of the crop in the CHL.
Absolutely. They're the best team. They've proven it on the field. They beat Wyoming and handled them really, really well. So when you walk into this game and say, you got to just go compete and to be the best you can, because it's not just about this week for us. It's about week 9 and 10 and still having the opportunity to get to where we want to and make the playoffs and maybe get a win in the playoffs as well, too. So you just go out and compete, do the best you possibly can. Yeah, we're shorthanded. We're smaller. They're bigger than us. They're stronger than us. And they're just really, really good football team that's well coached. And it's an opportunity to go out and compete.
So what's your message during the course of this week? What will it be to your kids knowing that? Because you can't, films don't lie. When you watch and talent doesn't lie. So what's your message to your team going into Friday?
To understand that there's going to be battles you're going to win and lose during the course of a season. We are a smaller school in our league, so we sometimes backs are up against the wall in that. And again, it's just the competition piece. You may lose that battle on Friday nights, and that happens. It just sometimes those games are won and lost when kids are born. So we just go to make sure our kids are competing, have a great week of practice, get a little bit better, so that way in weeks 9 and 10 we have a chance to go win football games.
Let's talk about your team on both sides of the ball. First on offense, who are some of the key guys that you really need big games from Friday night?
Oh, running back Robbie Lewis. He's coming back from a torn labrum, missed a couple weeks, so he got after it against Deer Park and had a decent game against Wyoming. We kind of backed off a little bit once the game was in hand. And then our offensive line, the 5 guys up front, we get a little banged up there with one missing, Harrison Woolwine, this week. So we've got those 5 guys plus our tight end Aiden Fields and Aiden Autrich. Those 2 tight ends need to have a good game.
And it's not like you've been without injuries on defense too, right?
Correct. Like I said, you go both ways. When you're missing a lineman, you're missing a linebacker. So, a couple weeks ago against Reading, we were missing 3 of the 4 starting linebackers. We have a young Simon Peters, sophomore, who just stepped in this last couple of weeks. 2 defensive touchdowns last week, a pick 6 and a fumble return against Wyoming. So he's been performing well. Andrew Roy's playing quarterback, playing both ways. And then a couple seniors, Christian Setz and Aiden Autrich on the outside, are filling in, and Joe Bishop as well, too, filling in at linebacker positions when they necessarily didn't think they'd be playing in those positions on Friday night.
When you talk about Indian Hill, it obviously starts with Devlin Daniel, their outstanding quarterback who can throw it and run it. What type of problems beside the obvious does he pose for your team?
Well, he's going to stretch the field vertically, and then he's going to stretch it horizontally, and then they're going to run misdirection. It looks like a Gus Malzahn offense. They got guys running to the right, and then next thing you know, they're running to the left. So you got to make sure you have that eye discipline on defense to be able to make sure you're in the right gap at the right time, because one step in the wrong direction, and he's housing that thing for 60, 70 yards. That's what he does, and he's electric to watch, and it pops on film when you see him play.
I know you and your family live in the Madeira community, and obviously in the CHL, there's been the long-standing success of Wyoming, now Indian Hill with John Rodenberg with a chance to win 2 of the last 3 if they're able to win it this year. What is the thought process here at Madeira using those 2 programs to kind of, you guys emulating them and wanting to challenge at the top of the CHL every year? I know it's challenging, but what's your message and how do you get there?
Well, I mean, you have season goals, you have weekly goals and daily goals. The season goal is to compete for a CHL championship. So we got to go out and compete on Friday night, right? Every year. So, but it's hard, like I said before. When you're a smaller school, and sometimes you have less numbers and just less kids than in the bigger schools. But they are the measuring stick. You want to go out and see where you could compare to those 2 teams and try to do the best you possibly can. Because the last decade or 2 decades that they've been the top 2 teams at the top of the list for a long time.
Big Friday night here, home game, Skyline Chili Crosstown Showdown. It'll be a great atmosphere, and it's a great rivalry, too. I mean, these are 2 schools naturally close together. How much fun will Friday night be? A game like this looks like the temperature is going to cooperate, getting maybe a little bit of fall for Friday night. Yeah. So how excited are you just for the game?
Oh, any Friday you can come out here and compete. The older you get, being the elder statesman on the staff now, is you understand that, these are not going to be, there's not many more of them coming down the road. So you try to enjoy each one regardless of what you think the outcome may or may not be. And like I said, the community shows up, being the Skyline, Showdown Crosstown of the game. So it's, looking forward to it. It's a great atmosphere. The fans are awesome. The community's awesome. People supporting us and their kids. It's a fun place to watch a game.
I know it's a theme of yours. How do Mustangs get things done on Friday night?
First thing you got to do is show up. We got to show up, not making excuses. We are banged up. We can't make excuses like that. We have the challenge in front of us. We got to attack that challenge against Indian Hill to go out and compete against them and just have a positive attitude. There's going to be things that happen in the game that aren't going to go our way, and we just got to make sure we stay positive and keep competing.
Well, this might not be positive. I'm not going to let you go without asking you because I know you're a big New York Mets fan. So, the epic fail, right? That obviously you reside in Cincinnati, yep. So it was a big win for the Reds in the end. But as a Mets fan, how brutal was that down the stretch?
It was tough to watch, especially as the previous year we talked. They had that little run into the NLCS. You were hoping they'd get back into it, and they kind of faltered. But, the coaching staff we have here is awesome. They're all Reds fans. And last year they were rooting for the Mets because I was a Mets fan. So I was rooting for them in the Reds to make a little run. Unfortunately, they didn't do it. But it was exciting to see the Reds back in the playoffs. Cincinnati is a baseball town. They need to go back to opening day when they play the first game all the time. They need to go back to that because that's what it is. People show up for Cincinnati baseball. It's a great baseball town.
So if you're the GM of the Mets, what do you do in the offseason? Would you keep the manager?
I think they did, but we need some pitchers. We need some pitchers that can go longer than 4 innings. So if Steve Cohen is listening right now, go get me some pitchers, Steve. Come on.
All right, man, we appreciate it. We look forward to seeing you Friday night.
Thank you, guys, and thank you for everything you do for high school football.